Labor Day is a holiday for workers, but it also puts a spotlight on millions of Americans who cannot find a job right now or don't have the right job, are working part-time. Some of them are coming up with clever ways to meet the right people, and one man here in New York is doing his best to hail a job.
It's like fishing, really. When you go out on a pond and fish, you have to know where the fish are.
When 49-year-old Jack Alvo reels riders into his New York City taxi, he says they always notice a difference.
Everything that I do in there has a purpose, has a meaning. I put on classical music. I could talk about the culture of New York.
And hanging right next to the credit card swiper, a can't-miss basket of his resumes. With more than 20 years' experience in trading, finance, and sales, he's looking for another job. Alvo is what the Bureau of Labor Statistics calls underemployed. He's working, but not doing what he was trained to do before the financial crisis.
There's 23 million people in a similar position.
I understand that, but and I feel for everyone, but you know, you got to get out there and do whatever it takes.
Alvo says his whatever it takes attitude started on 9/11. On that day, he was at work on the 73rd floor of 2 World Trade Center. His wife, Deborah, was pregnant with their first child.
I was sure he was gone, and I was sure I lost the pregnancy, and I was sure that was pretty much the end of my life.
When I walked out, I realized how blessed and how fortunate I was.
Like so many others whose companies or jobs disappeared that day, Alvo pounded the pavement to find new work. But times were difficult, and what followed was a string of leads that never quite worked out and kept Alvo from his family. So 2.5 years ago, his wife suggested he get behind the wheel of a taxi.
I brought the idea to Jack, who was having no part of it, and I'm like, listen, you make your own hours. So I thought, you know, you're basically like, no one's on top of you, you're working for yourself, so you can have your own, head clear to think about what you want to do, where you want to go next, and you're bringing in a couple of bucks.
Alvo says he always saw the taxi job as temporary. Because he sets his own hours, he's been able to keep himself competitive by attending advanced executive courses. Plus, he says being behind the wheel has given him a front seat to New York's best networking opportunity. Just recently, he decided it was time to leave his resumes out for potential contacts.
And what are you hearing that makes you think you're making progress?
There are some very influential New Yorkers in town. They've opened up their networks in a wonderful way. A lot of people say, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in my life.
And then you say, then hire me, please.
Well, of course, it only takes one. At the end of it, that's also the driving motivation to this whole thing. It only takes one.
It only takes one, and he knows it.
It only takes one, and it never hurts to ask.
It never hurts to ask, which is a great example of somebody really just continuing to be ambitious, staying motivated. And also one of the things that's really helped Jack Alvo is that he's in contact with people, because, it's really difficult being unemployed when you're alone. And that networking has really helped him stay upbeat and keep uplifted.
Good stuff. Nice stuff, RJ.